honor to welcome you to the 2022 San Francisco State University Opening Convocation, co-sponsored by the Office of the President and by the Academic Senate. My name is Mike Goldman, and I'm a professor of biology and the 2022-23 chair of the SF State Academic Senate. I want to acknowledge the provenance of this beautiful land on which we now gather, work, and learn. The campuses of San Francisco State University in San Francisco and in the North Bay are located within the occupied territories of the Ramaytush Ohlone and coastal Miwok, who along with the Southern Pomo are organized as the Federated Indians of Grayton Rancheria. It's a sobering reminder that most of us were once interlopers, immigrants to these United States, some fairly recently, like my family, some long established, and others yet to come. It's important to honor the people who cared for this land from the start and to embrace all comers to these shores as our extended family with equity and social justice. I'm personally very excited to play a part in this opening celebration of the start of the academic year for all employees at the university. In recognition of the role that faculty, staff, administrators, and student government play in the success of our students and our university. I hope you enjoyed the coffee and that great resource fair and came out meeting new people in 3 dimensions or online if you're online, and gaining a better understanding of the activities and resources of our campus. You'll find some information on this event at senate.sfsu.edu/convocation, but you don't need to look there to enjoy our program. Also, if you wouldn't mind, please take a moment to ensure that all of your electronic devices are silenced, including smartwatches, if you know how to silence them. Lastly, we'll introduce a number of people, but we hope that you wouldn't mind holding your applause until the end of the introduction of each group of people to help us move on efficiently. One of my great pleasures in participating in the organization of this event is in working with colleagues and new friends from all across campus and from all cabinet areas of the university. This team included Andrew Roderick, Christian Alvarado, Alex Orr, and others from academic technology, Aaron Ben from liberal and creative arts, and you see Aaron and his team running all over the place to make this event work out right here in this beautiful venue. I also wanted to thank Sophie Clavier, the Dean of Liberal and Creative Arts, who granted us the use of this wonderful space. Louis de Paz Fernandez, Bobby King, and Noriko Lim Tepper in the Office of the President, Nicole Redding and Avi Advani from Disability Programs and Resource Center, Barbara Stein, Paul Asper, and Nicole Lange from University Advancement, Adriana Gallardo-Ang from Associated Students, Dania Russell from Conference and Event Services, Todd Rehrman from Faculty Affairs and Professional Development, and Albert Say from Sodexo. Finally, someone who gets a very special hand from me, Myrna Vasquez, the Administrative Coordinator for the Academic Senate. So please give these folks a big hand. The leadership team of the Academic Senate is the Executive Committee, or ExComm for short. They're a dedicated group of faculty and staff who help direct the Senate and ensure a culture of shared governance on our campus. The 2022-23 officers of the Senate include Vice Chair Brad Erickson, who is a lecturer, a faculty member in humanities, the Secretary, Ellen Hines, Professor of Geography and Environment and Associate Director of the Estuarine and Ocean Science Center at Tiburon. At-large committee members include Mainung Lei, Professor and Chair of Asian Studies, and Santi Kavuri Bauer, Professor of Art. Our immediate past chair also serves as a member of our executive committee, and that is Teddy Albanak, Director of Forensics and a lecturer faculty member in the Department of Communication Studies, who is also serving as Special Assistant to the President and Provost, and you might have met him at the table representing the President's office. The standing committee chairs are the Academic Policies Committee Chair, Brian Beatty, Associate Professor of Equity, Leadership Studies, and Information Technology. The Curriculum Review and Approval Committee is chaired by Richard Harvey, Professor of Recreation, Parks and Tourism, and Holistic Health Studies. Our Faculty Affairs Committee is chaired by Jasper Rubin, Associate Professor of Urban Planning and Development, and the Director of Public Affairs and Civic Engagement. The acronym for that is PACE. You have to really pay attention to keep up with some of the acronyms we have on our campus. The chair of our Strategic Issues Committee is Alaric Trousdale, a staff member in international programs. The chair of the Student Affairs Committee is David Ulsher, Associate Professor of English Language and Literatures. Lastly, we have the SF state representatives to the statewide Academic Senate, who represent us in Long Beach, along with representation from the other 22 campuses of the CSU system, which you never hear very much about. This includes Darlene Yi Melikar, Professor of Gerontology in PACE, that acronym I just mentioned, Robert Keith Collins, Associate Professor in the Department of American Indian Studies, and Nancy Gerber, a former chair of our Academic Senate and Professor of Chemistry and Biochemistry. Over the last couple of years, Darlene and Rob served as vice chair and chair, respectively, of the Academic Senate for the entire California State University system, working with the Chancellor's Office on new system-wide policies and procedures during year one of the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic. There are also about 86 members of the Academic Senate, all working toward shared governance and policies at San Francisco State University. Please join me in thanking these folks, and if you happen to be in the audience and would like to stand, that would be great also. So thanks so much to that group that means so much to the success of our university. 2022 is a tough time for public higher education in America. Our university faces several key challenges right now. Chief among them is a drop in student enrollment, which has both immediate and long-term effects on our campus budget. A second challenge is meeting the goals of the Board of Trustees, the Chancellor's Office, and the state legislature in measures of student success, mainly graduation rates. Third is the campus climate and the general morale of employees, which has an effect on productivity and on our ability to serve our students. Fourth among our challenges is not a wavering in our commitment to equity and social justice, but occasionally a temporary lapse in our ability to see through on that promise in a pervasive and inclusive way. Fifth, I couldn't leave this out, is a global pandemic that is still with us and demands caution, although we hope the threat will continue to wane over time. As Neil Ferguson notes, we are still in the immediate throes of a pandemic that peaked only 9 months ago. We may be in it for 2 more years. The pandemic reminds us that each of us is responsible not only for the health, welfare, and success of our own, but that of every member of the SF State community. And to tell the truth, we don't need a pandemic for that to be the case and for us to keep that in mind. The Academic Senate of San Francisco State University accepts the challenge of taking a holistic approach to these issues. There is fundamentally no reason that we cannot become one of the 3 major destination campuses in the California State University system, known for our living representation of justice, diversity, and equity, our innovative programs, now for the post-pandemic era, our superb teaching and effective learning, our focus on student success, our focus on excellence in research, scholarship, and creative activities involving students, and our valuable contributions to the advancement and sustainability of our local and global community. These are all interconnected. I meet regularly with institutional leaders, senators, union officers, students, and other employees to strategize about issues like campus safety, marketing. I actually wrote that down twice, and I decided to leave it there because there's a good reason for it. Enrollment strategy, employee morale, research, scholarship, and creative activities, and reducing the administrative burden, or what they call red tape, and the development and navigation of our curriculum. That is the simplification of our curriculum over time. The Senate is becoming more and more of a driving force in the future of our institution, more and more representative of all aspects of the university rather than just a single division. We are no longer just a faculty senate. We have substantial representation of students, faculty, staff, and administration. We are no longer just an academic senate because we represent all 5 cabinet areas of our university: administration and finance, advancement, student affairs and enrollment management, university enterprises, and of course, academic affairs. We recognize that we are one university with one large team, and that is the only way we can ensure the success of our students and the thriving of our employees. All of these are aspects of a complex entity called shared governance, at the heart of the very existence of all great American universities. SF State is widely regarded as one of the most powerful examples of shared governance. You don't have to be a senator to join us. We have 27 subcommittees open to very broad participation. You don't have to be a senior faculty member. We have and we encourage people at all career stages, including those of you we are welcoming today. You don't even have to be a faculty member. We have dedicated positions open to staff on the Senate and many more in subcommittees. You can all join us at plenary meetings every other week, conveniently located on Zoom. It's easy to start. Just reach out to us at the email address, senate@sfsu.edu, and ask to join our mailing list for the Friday report. It's now my true honor to introduce our next speaker. Dr. Lynn Mahoney is the 14th president of San Francisco State University and our first woman president. She wasn't even here for a year at the time in March 2020 when pandemic became pandemonium. President Mahoney has been firmly in the lead in every aspect of our dealing with this difficult and sadly ongoing situation, and are coming out of it stronger. She has acted independently of many of her peers in the Cal State system to ensure the safety and welfare of our employees and students as priority one. She is an enthusiastic supporter of and participant in shared governance on our campus. Please join me in welcoming President Lynn Mahoney.
Good morning. It is nice to see about 10 times more people here than last year. And someday we will get all these seats filled. And thank you, Michael. Welcome to our fall 22 semester. It is a pleasure to be with you today to launch the academic year. This is a particularly exciting moment because for the first time in 3 years, we will welcome back almost everyone to campus and to a university ripe with good things happening. This summer, the university hummed with orientation activities for new students, and hundreds of prospective students toured campus with their families, eager to apply here in the future. Last weekend, just Saturday and Sunday, we welcomed almost 4,600 residential students to campus, our largest group in San Francisco State's history. I'll just pause. There were many highlights of the two-day event, but I was struck by the number of alumni parents who were dropping off their students, and in one instance, an alumni grandparent was dropping off her grandchild. She was here in the 90s. It was a great conversation. And then next week, on Monday, over the course of the week, we'll welcome 6,000 new students to San Francisco State and more than 18,000 returning students. Almost 75% of our undergraduate classes are in person, and more than 60% of our graduate courses will be face-to-face. Once again, San Francisco State will be a place where thousands of students and employees gather to learn, to develop, to work, to play, and to be with one another in community. This fall, we have much to be excited about as we return. Thanks to the tremendous advocacy of the entire CSU family, students, faculty, staff, alumni, administrators, the CSU received an additional $365 million in recurring state funding and $1.1 billion in one-time funds. While short of the funds needed to fully address compensation and facilities needs, the budget does allow us to address some long-deferred maintenance projects, so you'll see some activity on campus, build more affordable student housing, and I'll talk about that in a moment, and partially supports long overdue compensation increases for all of our employees. Fully addressing the compensation needs of our employees will be our greatest focus, as we have already begun advocating for next year's budget. Our student success, and Dr. Goldman referenced this, requires that we better support those who work tirelessly on behalf of our students. Of the almost $500 million that the state devoted to student housing for the CSU, San Francisco State received $116 million. We received 23% of the total. These funds will be used to build a new residence hall on West Campus Green that will allow us to better recruit and retain students. This historic investment in housing, and this is historic, this has never happened before in the state of California, represents a good first step in addressing the overall cost of attendance for students. I am deeply grateful to the staff and administrators who worked on crafting our proposal, which made it very competitive, and to the alumni and everyone else who advocated on our behalf. Dozens of people made calls to anyone and everyone in Sacramento advocating for us. The state's allocation will cover 65% of the cost of the project, leaving only 35% to be covered through bonds paid back over time. This financial model will permit us to provide our students with more affordable housing, which supports enrollment, retention, and overall student success. I cannot stress enough what a victory this is for San Francisco State and its students. We expect to welcome students there for fall 2024. This fall, we return to a welcome sight on a thriving university campus, a very large construction crane. Construction can bring its challenges, but There is no better sign of a thriving economy or a thriving organization or a thriving institution than a crane. Construction is well underway on the new Science and Engineering Innovation Center. The project, which will open in January 2024, so before we know it, will provide our students, faculty, and staff with state-of-the-art labs and classrooms. And yes, it might be a bit disruptive this fall, but the benefits far outweigh the noise and inconveniences that a large construction project will create. Later this fall, we expect to have a celebration to commemorate the milestone when the construction team places the highest component on the structure. We did this for Marcus Hall back in the fall of 19. So all of you will be invited to join us later this semester to sign the structural beam before it's placed. I want to thank all of those who have worked tirelessly to bring that project to fruition, particularly our colleagues in University Enterprises. In just a few moments, Provost Tsuyoshi, and isn't it nice that I get to say that? Provost Tsuyoshi will share with you highlights from academic affairs. It is a pleasure to join her today in her new role. I look forward to celebrating her appointment with all of you after this event in front of the gymnasium. Our academic mission is at the very core of what we do. It is the core of what we do, and many across campus work tirelessly to support that mission. Our colleagues in admin and finance continue to provide business, operations, technology, and human resources support services foundational to San Francisco State achieving its mission and serving our students, faculty, and staff. In 2022, administration and finance units worked with departments across the university to invest nearly $100 million of HERF funds to deliver critically needed pandemic response needs like faculty professional development, COVID-19 testing and health and safety measures, infrastructure improvements, new technology systems and equipments, and to address the negative economic effects of the pandemic. Our colleagues in University Advancement continue their work to develop external financial support for critically needed campus initiatives. Last year, despite the interruptions wrought by the pandemic, there's nothing worse for advancement officers and folks to be told, no, you can't go out and see people. Despite those disruptions and interruptions, they exceeded their fundraising goal and raised over $21 million. These funds support many of our programs on campus and include a $2 million bequest for endowing nursing student scholarships and six-figure gifts to support Project Rebound and the Guardian Scholars programs, two of our key social justice programs on campus. The San Francisco University Foundation Board, whose chair joins me here today, the university's philanthropic arm, composed largely of alumni, contributed $700,000 to the building of a new University Advising Center, which will open in January 2023. We've been discussing this for probably 10 years, and it is finally coming to fruition, thanks in part to our University Foundation Board, who will help us better meet our educational equity goals. The Foundation Board, and I was thinking about Dr. Goldman's comments about being on the pushing the boundaries of social justice. The Foundation Board has set a national standard for value-based investing. They approved a new investment policy statement committing our foundation to using the funds in our endowment, which is now over $180 million, to reflect our values by investing in historically marginalized communities and by committing to full fossil fuel divestment and a net carbon footprint. We are the first university with an endowment of our size to make such interrelated commitments. Earlier, I mentioned that we are enthusiastically welcoming over 6,000 new students, and we are seeing an upward trend in the number of first-year freshmen who enroll at San Francisco State. That gain was hard-won, and I want to take a moment to thank the teams in student affairs and enrollment management. They worked tirelessly. Despite staffing challenges, they worked relentlessly to improve processes in admissions and financial aid, to strengthen outreach and communications to new students, including welcoming more than 8,000 potential new Gators last April and organizing over 200 campus ambassadors to make more than 10,000 calls to admitted students, encouraging them to enroll here. SAEM also implemented a new overnight orientation program, improved the transfer credit process, and just generally exceeded all expectations to increase our new student enrollment. Please take a moment to thank them. The partnership between the Division of Undergraduate Education and Academic Planning and SAEM to lead university-wide efforts to address the 5 equity priorities identified by the CSU continues to yield robust results, with support from many units across campus. Efforts to help students who had stopped out come back to campus continues to exceed our expectation. These are students who just would have wandered off in the past. This fall, we look forward to welcoming back almost 300 of these students, the vast majority from underserved communities, who will be supported by teams from SAEM, academic advising, equity and community inclusion, among others, to support their persistence. The Division of Equity and Community Inclusion hosted over 185 programs last year and worked collaboratively with faculty affairs, academic departments, colleges, campus safety, among other units, to build our capacity to support belongingness and inclusive excellence. We recently welcomed our inaugural director of the Latinx Student Center. Please keep an eye out for the grand opening of that center early this semester. We also welcomed a new coordinator of Jewish student life, and we look forward to the successful conclusion of searches for a director of Asian American and Pacific Islander Student Services, a coordinator of Muslim student life, and a coordinator of LGBTQ+ student life. This fall, I'm very excited about this initiative, we are launching an initiative in partnership with Excellencia in Education to improve our transition from being a coincidence of demography, Hispanic serving institution, to being an intentional Latinx student-centered university. Equity and Community Inclusion is also looking forward to continuing their work with student organizations and the Disabilities Programs and Resource Center to better support efforts to build a sense of belongingness and community for students with disabilities. With belongingness and inclusion a priority, Equity and Community Inclusion will coordinate with USC's Race and Equity Center to administer the National Assessment of Collegiate Campus Climates, a quantitative survey to collect data about students' assessments of our institutional commitment to racial equity and diversity, as well as other critical campus climate issues. And I'd like to just pause to thank the California Faculty Association for encouraging us to do this. Please keep an eye out for opportunities to participate in this survey and for a more detailed email from Equity and Community Inclusion on ways to participate in and support our belongingness work. Campus safety is, as always, a high priority. Last year, we implemented a new campus program to assist those traveling on campus at less populated times. I encourage all to take advantage of our Campus Safe Walk travel service as needed. The Division of Campus Safety also collaborated with campus partners from Equity and Community Inclusion, Equity Programs and Compliance, Student Conduct, and Academic Affairs to conduct incident diffusion training. The training provided support resources for reporting and diffusing classroom conflict. And finally, our return this fall marks the launch of a new strategic plan, which should soon be on display behind me, maybe. Somebody let me know. And a copy of which everyone here today has either received or will receive. It's a scroll that's tied with a ribbon. And we'll have them all over campus too. The Strategic Planning Committee, composed of 34, one of the largest groups we've worked with, faculty, staff, students, alumni, and administrators, worked hard last year. They met regularly. They conducted focus groups, held workshops, and administered repeated surveys to codify our shared mission, vision, and values, and to identify 6 strategic priority areas for us to focus on. And Dr. Goldman's priorities echoed this. Rooted in shared values and visions, and I will point to our values behind me in a moment, we will launch an inclusive and transparent process this year to better realize our mission and make progress on our strategic priorities. A strategic plan is not a static plan, but a process, and our focus is going to be on an ongoing process. And I'll soon share more information about that via email. Today, I just want to highlight just a bit. All will recognize themselves in our shared values, which are behind me. We value learning, creativity, and exploration. We value empowerment and transformation. We value inclusion and belonging. We value equity and justice. We value local and global engagement. Our shared values fuel all that we do. Today, I'm going to highlight just 2 of our 6 strategic commitments. For those of you who got the scroll, there's a QR code on the back, and then you can also link to it from our homepage as well. I encourage all to take a look at the strategic planning website to learn more about the process and the plan. As we look to next year and beyond, we must commit to strengthening our core educational mission to produce highly qualified alumni and to better support those who devote their lives to helping San Francisco State achieve that mission, our employees. This year is going to be all about our people. To that end, I draw your attention to the first 2 strategic priorities. Our commitment, educational equity and student success. At San Francisco State, we strive to provide every student with transformative educational experiences that support their academic and future success. Strategic priority number 2, working with purpose and passion, an improved employee experience. At San Francisco State, we strive to make our university a great place to work, where everyone can meaningfully contribute to the success of our students and the San Francisco State community. We will work together to better realize these commitments. Educational equity, the need to do better by students historically underserved by higher education, particularly students from communities of color, must motivate all we do. As I have said elsewhere, it is unacceptable that this university, with its historic role and relentless commitment to social justice, graduates less than half of our Black and Latinx freshmen. Changing this will require bold new steps, like one-stop advising, and a demonstrated commitment to using inclusive pedagogies, among other things. I know that we can do this. A focus on student and employee success drives our work every day, regardless of our roles. And I look forward to working together to achieve our educational equity goals and to making San Francisco State a leader among our peers. I like that top 3. I think Dr. Goldman challenged us to get in the top 3. Our return to a robust campus is mirrored by the reemergence of San Francisco as a destination city, acknowledged for its economic significance and its cultural and natural beauty. People have been calling this city down and out since 1906. I actually just saw a presentation on all the headlines, and we just always come back stronger and better. Just last month, Time magazine recognized San Francisco as one of the world's greatest places of 2022, ranking it in the top 50 extraordinary places to explore. We were one of only 5 cities so recognized. While I have a healthy skepticism about rankings, I think at this moment, when it's easier to see our flaws and our challenges, rankings can be a powerful reminder to take a broader, longer look. Look beyond the tree, look beyond the forest even. And so we see that San Francisco State, like the city we call home, is increasingly recognized for what we do well: provide access to world-class degrees and support our diverse students' development on their paths to becoming successful alumni engaged in meaningful work. Keeping in mind that there are over 4,000 institutions of higher education in the U.S., I'm going to give you some of our recent rankings. Number 3 for the most diverse learning environment in the U.S. by the Wall Street Journal and Times Higher Education. Number 1 in our classification in the West for producing high-earning female alumni under 40 by Stepping Blocks. Number 11, Best Public Regional University in the West by U.S. News and World Report. I particularly don't like their ratings, but I'll take number 11. And we rank as one of the top 100 master's universities in the country by Washington Monthly, and as one of the top 30 most transformative universities in the nation by Money Magazine. Please take a moment to congratulate yourselves. The achievements of our alumni affirm the accuracy of these rankings. Among many accomplishments, they have earned almost 50 Emmys, a dozen Tony Awards, more than a dozen Oscars, and over 20 Pulitzer Prizes. And there are many, many other notable awards in science and in business. I could have spent an hour just on that list. I am proud to announce that one of those Pulitzer Prize winners, alumnus Jose Antonio Vargas, whose photo is out here in the lobby, was just appointed to serve on the CSU Board of Trustees. A journalist, filmmaker, and immigration rights activist, Mr. Vargas studied political science and Black studies here, and he will serve our students in the CSU very well. Alongside me today is another distinguished member of our alumni, and she's on this side, I think, Netta. With the masks on, I can't recognize anyone. Another distinguished member of our alumni, Netta Nobari, chair of the San Francisco State Foundation Board and 2020 Alumna of the Year. A successful businesswoman, humanitarian, and philanthropist, Netta's support for the university includes the Center for Iranian Diaspora Studies, the renovations of the J. Paul Leonard Library, and support for the Guardian Scholars Program and the Hope Crisis Fund. Netta's commitment to climate justice led her to recently provide nearly $3 million in inaugural funding for our Climate Justice Leaders Initiative to develop curriculum and programming to better prepare our students, faculty, and staff to become equity-minded climate justice leaders and develop the next generation of diverse leaders in climate change work. It's a pleasure to have her join us today in person. We have all spent far too many months navigating and meeting the challenges created by the COVID-19 pandemic, but we have met them as they came, and we will continue to do so even as new challenges emerge. As I look back on what we have accomplished and what we have to look forward to, I am so excited and energized about this academic year. I am deeply grateful, as always, to all of you who make this university work and to our students who achieve great things, and remain terribly proud to serve as your president. It's now my pleasure to welcome Dr. Goldman back.
If you're new to SF State, you might not yet realize just how amazing our students are. Here to represent them and the associated students of SF State is Faiza Sheikh. Entirely coincidentally, Faiza is a student in my own Department of Biology in the College of Science and Engineering. I'm so happy to introduce Faiza Sheikh and to hear what she has to say.
Thank you, Michael. Hello, everyone. I'm Faiza Sheikh, Associated Students, College of Science and Engineering representative, standing here before you today to welcome all students and faculty to the new academic year 2022. I'm very pleased to stand here in front of you all and very happy that you have chosen SF State as your journey. This is definitely a new and incredible journey, nerve-wracking sometimes, but I'm sure this will all be fun and turning point in our careers. I was in the same shoes 2 years ago in the pandemic 2020, where all my classes were in person and we were the first class to be remote. with little to no in-person activities like this. Despite this challenge, I'm very happy to have a leadership role in AS. I'm a third-year junior student majoring in biology with physiology concentration and double minoring in computing applications and chemistry. Very long and tiring, right? Well, my past 2 years at SF State have been an interesting and an educational journey. I have felt well supported by my peers and the faculty. They have played a significant role in where I'm standing before you today and all the achievements and the current leadership roles I have. I wouldn't be possible to stand here without the staff and faculty backing me and supporting me. I chose SF State to be my second home because I feel a sense of belonging. The past 2 years have gone immensely astounding with being fully remote with little to most no in-person activities at all. But with the help of people from SF State, this has been an incredible journey. There will be many highs and lows in this journey, but you have to remember that there is always a sense of community here at SF State where people are supportive and very down to earth. I have received a lot of support and resources from my peers and faculty, making it a perfect college experience for any student to have. I would like to share some accounts with you that have had a great impact on me. Being a president in the Women of Science Engineering Club on campus, I was exposed to various leadership meetings. I'm very lucky to be supported throughout my college. Shout out to Dean Domingo and Associate Dean Ron. They have been great people to talk to and get advice regarding various council meetings. That is how I came to know about my current job in the Cozy Advising Center. That is how the folks are on this campus. They are generous and willing to share their experiences. A great part of where I'm standing to here today as a College of Science and Engineering representative today in front of you all is in a great fact that this is due to their support and eagerness to share updates to current students and keeping them up to date on events and engagement activities throughout my college. If I'm talking about my own experiences, I can't forget my biology advisor and my research mentors. Dr. Fuse, my biology advisor, has played a huge role in my academic career by opening my eyes, providing me with opportunities and information about great research opportunities at this campus. Consequently, I met with my research mentor, Dr. Pennings, a truly exceptional professor and mentor who has provided me with great scientific literacy and opportunities to become a student researcher in her lab and in her guidance. She recruited me to be a part of the PING program, which is a minor program, and the coding summer programs that are offered here at SF State and in the College of Science and Engineering. This has paved the way for me to be a part of a highly competitive internship at Genentech. It wouldn't have been possible without their support. Last but not least, I would like to highlight AS, Associated Students, by the students and for the students. This is San Francisco State student government, which offers many leadership roles, programs, and services to enhance student experiences. Many influential leaders represent students, and all of that gives a great learning path to most, and surely will I get more support from them. Thank you to all my support systems, my friends, faculty, and staff, which has helped me stand here in front of you today. Faculty plays a pivotal role in the experience of every student and their success, and they are a huge part in their careers. Thinking back to my own student experiences, I would like to leave you with a quote: "If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door." Thank you all. Thank you for this opportunity.
So thank you, Faiza. I think now you know what I mean by our students being incredible, and I can't wait for you to get to meet the rest of them. Most of the employees at SF State are represented by one of several unions, which are crucial to the success of those employees and therefore to the success of our students. We'll hear today from two union leaders one on screen and one in person. First is Dr. James Martell, president of the SF State chapter of the California Faculty Association, which is affiliated with the American Association of University Professors. Like President Mahoney, James takes no prisoners. Actually, I don't know what that expression means, but I thought it sounded good. He's not afraid to stand up against his peers at other Cal State campuses when he thinks a contract matter adversely impacts SF State. Our campus, as some of you know, and the rest of you will soon see, never fades into the background. Here in streaming video, please welcome James Martell.
Hello everyone. I'm sorry I can't be there in person, but I'm very happy to help celebrate the beginning of the next academic year. We have faced a lot of challenges and change in the last few years. Clearly, even though we're done with COVID, it is not yet done with us. We do have many challenges as an institution and a community, but we also have a lot of great people who are devoted to this place and who are willing to work together to help steer us through these complicated times. In that light, I'd like to talk about a few of the things that the CFA is working on as we go into the next academic year. Some of these things we're working on our own, other things we are working on in cooperation with the administration and also with the Academic Senate. On other issues still, we're working with student groups, other unions, and state and local legislators and officials. Let me quickly set out a few of our priorities. First of all, the CFA as a whole will enter into negotiations this coming academic year for what is called a reopener. This means that we will be bargaining for another raise after the 3% raise that we are getting this year. When we go into the reopener, that means we'll be preparing ourselves as a campus to do what is necessary to get a decent raise. The more organized we are, the more likely we can make a strong case for our demands. As a chapter, we've taken the position that any raise that keeps us below the inflation level, which is currently at 9%, is not going to work. So clearly, we have our work cut out for us. We are also continuing to work on the two-tiered system, wherein lecturer faculty are sorely underpaid. We have a wonderful committee in our chapter called ELF, Equity for Lecturer Faculty, that have been working hard on improving things for lecturer faculty as a whole. Our faculty rights panel is also working with them on these issues. One thing we've been working on is to make sure that lecturer faculty who are eligible for a raise, which in this case is called a range elevation, are alerted to that fact in a timely manner and get help to apply and actually get that raise. We're also working on enforcing Article 12.29 of the contract, which says that any additional work that is given out to lecturer faculty has to first be offered to existing lecturer faculty, assuming they're qualified to teach the course, not just up until their entitlement, but up till their full-time load, which is 5 classes. I have to give a shout out to Carlene Mandolfo, the Dean of Faculty, because she's been working hard with us to enforce this rule, and we're starting to make progress educating deans and chairs about how this works. We're also trying to promote more lecturer faculty conversions to become tenure track. We are also strongly committed to working on issues of racial justice on our campus. We're undertaking a survey of Black and brown faculty to find out what their situation is and how we can help them. We are working with the Title IX office to ensure that complaints of discrimination are dealt with fairly. We're also working with student groups to address the issue of campus policing and the problem that Black and brown faculty and students alike often face in dealing with that institution. CFA as a statewide union has made addressing racial and social justice one of its top priorities, and we are similarly dedicated in our chapter to dealing with these very critical issues. We also recognize that one of the things that a union can and should do is to offer more settings for faculty to get to know each other. We think a healthier and happier campus is one where faculty really get to know each other. And to that effect, we're going to put on a series of social events as the fall progresses and on into the spring. So look out for your invitation. Thank you again for the opportunity to address you all as we start a new semester. I look forward to seeing many of you in person and on Zoom, but especially in person, as we enter into an exciting and important period, working together for this university that is all of our home. Thank you very much.
And As you'll recognize as we get to introducing our new faculty, we've actually been able to welcome a number of lecturers who are now stepping into tenure-track faculty positions, and it's very nice when we can do that. So congratulations to all, and you'll hear about them soon. Perhaps our staff members were the hardest hit by the ravages, both physical and fiscal, of the pandemic. While I may have had the luxury of meeting my classes from home on Zoom, many of our staff members were here risking exposure to COVID-19 straight through the darkest times of the crisis, literally keeping the lights on for the rest of us. Yet, staff suffered some of the most difficult working conditions, and some even lost their jobs. No one knows that like Sandy Noda, president of the local California State University Employees Union, or CSU.edu. I've been so touched by Sandy's very personal caring and dedication, the way she stands up for employee rights and advancement. I'm so happy we all have this opportunity to hear in person now from Sandy Noda.
Thank you, Chair Goldman. Good morning and welcome to the beginning of the 22-23 academic year. Let me first thank President Mahoney, Mike Goldman, and the Academic Senate for inviting me to speak today. It is an honor to speak to you on behalf of the staff. The staff have a critical role in student success. However, staff are often forgotten in that role that we have at the university. Yet without the staff, we would not have a university. After all, the staff are the backbone of SF State. As many of you know, the staff have been busy and will continue to be busy until we get our STEP system back and our salary study funded. The unions at our chapter delivered over 600 postcards to your legislators to encourage them to fund our salary study. Statewide, there were over 9,000 postcards delivered to our assembly members. That doesn't include the 11,000 voter voice messages that were sent to our legislators and the governor. 2 days ago, SB 410 came to fruition. This bill would require the California State University to implement a merit 9-step salary system for all California State University non-faculty staff employees, and it runs for 15 years. Stay tuned as we implement our campaign to reinstate STEPs. We need all of you to be engaged and help with this campaign. After all, our future is at stake. Remember that bill number, SB 410. And what can I say about our new contract? Did you see the vote count? Over 9,200 employees voted, a record number for CSU.edu. At our chapter, 781 employees were eligible to vote. Of that, 644 voted. 330 of you are not members. If there was ever a time that CSU needs your membership, it is today. Our membership numbers are no secret, and our political power depends on high membership numbers. Well, what is our chapter working on? We are working with Associate Vice President Ingrid Williams on getting a new evaluation form for the CSU staff. It is no secret that the CSU has issues with our current evaluation form, and we are hoping to make it more efficient both for staff and appropriate administrators. We are also working on a trial webinar to learn about our contract. Once a month, starting in September, we will host a lunch hour webinar to educate employees on our contract. What is our ask this year? While I know that there are enrollment issues, we need to find a way to retain our current employees. Employees are getting burnt out because of the short staffing. Recruit and hire a full ombudsperson. The campus needs a resource to deal with non-labor or non-Title IX issues. Truly appreciate your staff. When you say thank you for doing X job, whatever the task was. I really appreciate you stepping up. For CSU, our contract allows for bonuses or stipends. Consider that when staff do extra work that's not included in their position description. Lastly, be kind and respectful to each other. Be mindful that sometimes people wake up on the wrong side of the bed. I don't know what happened to my last sleep, sorry. Take care and stay safe. And I'll see you around campus.
Thank you so much, Sandy. Universities like ours don't exist in a vacuum. We're part of the fabric of society, and as such, a part of the political process in our cities, our counties, our state, and our nation. One of our greatest proponents in state government, responsible for our funding, by the way, is Senator Scott Wiener, a Democrat representing the 11th Senate District, encompassing San Francisco and parts of San Mateo County. It is a true privilege to be able to hear from Senator Wiener by recorded video. Please welcome the Honorable Scott Wiener.
Hi, I'm Senator Scott Wiener. I'm so sorry that I can't be with you today in person for your opening convocation, but I'm there in spirit. And I just want to express to the entire SF State community what an admirer I am and strong supporter I am of the university. SF State is such a critical part of San Francisco. It's part of our heart and soul, educating so many of our residents and our neighbors, educating so many people who are now in our workforce. We would not be San Francisco without SF State. I also just want to speak more broadly about the importance of the entire CSU system to California. This is the largest university system in our country. You are part of the backbone. The CSU is part of the backbone of California, really providing a pathway to the middle class for so many, no matter where they come from, whether they are rich or poor. CSU is there to help lift people up. We're working very, very hard to support CSU financially. We want to make sure it's a well-funded university system and that tuition doesn't have to keep going up. We're also working very hard to make it easier for CSU, as well as UC and community colleges, to build student housing and faculty housing, because your faculty doesn't get paid enough. But we want to make sure that when people attend CSU, that you actually have a place to live. We have a real housing crisis, and there's so much student homelessness, far too many students who are living in cars or motels or couch surfing or just unstable in their housing. And that is not conducive to the best and highest quality college education. So let's all keep working. Congratulations as you start your year, and you will always have my support. Thank you.
And Senator Wiener mentioned the importance of the CSU system as a whole. And I just wanted to mention that I saw a statistic yesterday that of the 10 largest master's granting institutions in the United States, the 10 largest public master's granting institutions, 7 of them are in the CSU system, including San Francisco State itself. Each year, we get to recognize a number of distinguished faculty and staff awardees. The San Francisco State Foundation is providing financial support of $25,000 per year in perpetuity for these awards, as well as for a celebratory reception. On behalf of the Academic Senate, I would like to recognize and thank the SF State Foundation, its board president, Jeff Jackanetz, who is also vice president for university advancement, for their support of the wonderful work that our faculty do on and off this campus, for recognizing our excellent staff and the role they play in shared governance and service to our students and society. It is a great pleasure to invite Neda Nabari, chair of the SF State Foundation Board, to present these coveted awards. Neda, as President Mahoney already mentioned, is a distinguished alumna of SF State and a tireless advocate for our university. She was our 2017 commencement speaker, alumna of the year in 2020. Please welcome Neda Nabari.
Thank you. Hello. Thank you, Dr. Goldman. Sponsoring the Distinguished Faculty and Staff Awards allows the San Francisco State Foundation to show our deep admiration and respect for these incredible individuals and their achievements. I'm proud to share a little about each of our awardees. The Excellence in Professional Achievement Award was presented to Mahmoud Munshipuri, Professor and Department Chair for the Department of International Relations. Dr. Munshipuri's commitment to human rights and the role ethics plays in global affairs has fueled students' creativity, inventiveness, and imagination. He has impacted students' views on poverty, human security, politics, and inequality, while helping them establish a record of publication. He has collaborated on essays and book chapters with students, which appear in refereed journals and edited volumes. Dr. Munshipuri is the author, editor, and co-editor of 13 books on human rights and democracy promotion around the world. He has written 94 journal articles, appearing in the most prestigious journals in the field, and has contributed 33 chapters to books on international relations and human rights. Congratulations to Dr. Munshipuri. Rose Carmona Arbulo. From Metro Academy was presented the Excellence in Service Award for Staff. Ms. Carmona Arbulo began as a counselor in the Financial Aid Office until she transitioned to the Metro Academy, where she is currently the Student Services Lead. While working as a financial aid counselor, Ms. Carmona Arbulu was also advocating for undocumented students and working on the AB 540 Undocumented Student Task Force. This task force became the Dream Resource Center Advisory Board, where she now currently serves as the chair. She also carried on with her work for the Continue the Dream for Academic Excellence Scholarship Fund. Ms. Carmona Arbulu has shown wholehearted and courageous dedication for our students. She accomplished all of this in addition to her job on campus. Ms. Carmona Arbulu exemplifies excellence in service and holds the rest of us to a higher standard. This award is very well deserved. Sandra Rosen, a professor from the Department of Special Education, received the Excellence in Service Award for faculty. Dr. Rosen started her career as a lecturer and then became the program coordinator for the Physical Disabilities, Visual Impairment, and Orientation and Mobility credential programs within the Department of Special Education. Dr. Rosen then transitioned a tenure-track faculty position and continued as program coordinator. Dr. Rosen has been awarded over $6 million in grants and contracts to improve the quality of service and preparation within the Orientation and Mobility program and for direct support of San Francisco State faculty and students. Dr. Rosen served on the First California Commission on Teacher Credentialing Committee for the Preparation of Orientation and Mobility Professionals and the Commission on Teacher Credentialing's University Review Task Force and provides consultation on orientation and mobility for the San Francisco Unified School District and throughout California. We are proud to recognize Dr. Rosen's body of work. Genevieve Del Mundo Mendieta of Metro Academy earned the Excellence in Teaching Award for lecturer faculty. The Metro College Success Program provides support to first-generation, low-income, and underrepresented students at San Francisco State. It is a learning community for students, faculty members, and provides foundational skills needed for students to succeed in college. Ms. Del Mundo Mendieta has been a stellar instructor and coordinator with Metro since 2016 and came with a deep knowledge of science content. She oversees and monitors the success of students and inspires them to think critically in their roles as scientists, engineers, and mathematicians. She instinctively knows how to support students through a difficult curriculum. She leads with kindness, tenacity, and a deep desire to transform inequity. It is an honor to recognize Ms. Del Mundo Mendieta. Xiao Yun Chu, Associate Professor for the School of Design, was our awardee for Excellence in Teaching for tenured faculty. Dr. Chu demonstrates a remarkable teaching philosophy, which she developed through methodical examination and improvement of teaching and learning. She has influenced student learning in and out of the classroom, and her innovative methods inspire her fellow faculty members. Dr. Chu's commitment to justice, equity, diversity, and inclusion in teaching is especially notable. She demonstrates this not only through participating in pedagogy development programs, but by putting what she learns into action and providing relevant and equitable education opportunities. Dr. Chu is described by her peers as a generous colleague who inspires others to work hard towards equity and social justice in teaching. Dr. Chu enriches our university and is a well-deserving of this award. Thank you.
Thank you so much for those introductions. Dr. Amy Tsuyoshi was appointed Provost and Vice President for Academic Affairs at SF State beginning July 1st of this year. A faculty member at SF State since 2002, Dr. Tsuyoshi was previously the Associate Dean, then the Interim Dean, and finally the Dean of the College of Ethnic Studies. She holds a PhD in history from UCLA. It's a great pleasure to introduce a homegrown provost with a stellar record of achievement. And we're already seeing the fruits of a new generation of innovative leadership. Let's welcome Provost Amy Tsuyoshi.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks to all of you for being here today. I'm so grateful for all of your engagement to make this campus stronger. I've been moved by your courage and commitment during these past 2.5 years. That is what has rejuvenated and inspired me to work harder and do better for this institution as I embark on my new role as provost. Staff and faculty have done incredible work this past year, expanding services for students and better engaging the campus community, while at the same time making significant contributions to their own professional fields. Let's begin with the library. They offered library instruction to 2,400 classes this past year, 1,400 more classes than the previous year. The library's successful outreach happened thanks to collaboration with Metro, first-year experience, and lower division composition. Students are so grateful that they're receiving library instruction earlier in their academic career. The library also established a wellness room for students in partnership with the Tutoring Center and Health Promotion and Wellness, and offer what they call blind dates with books. This past year, we also reconfigured grad studies to better integrate career opportunities and now have a division of graduate studies and career pathways. This new division offers students both academic and professional pathways and is aiming to open a remodeled student services hub in January 2023. Indeed, we have a lot to celebrate in January since it will also mark the opening of our new advising center, which a couple of people have mentioned, where academic advising will be one step closer to one-stop advising to reduce confusion and bureaucracy for students. This is all possible through a generous donation from the San Francisco State Foundation Board. Institutional analytics has also been hard at work sharing data to better facilitate graduation for both our first-time, first-year students and our transfer students. Check them out at ir.sfsu.edu. They're engaged in a project with the San Mateo Community College District so that students from Cañada, Skyline, and CSM can more smoothly transfer to SF State and complete their degree. More good news for 2022. Faculty Affairs, in consultation with the Faculty Affairs Committee, will be implementing a new streamlined sabbatical policy that we think will increase transparency and reduce anxiety during what many faculty find to be a stressful evaluation. A number of colleges and divisions have also more actively taken on racial equity work in the past year. The College of Health and Social Sciences has initiated a Reflections and Actions to Create Equity, or RACE, initiative. They're offering college-wide racial healing circles and advancing racial justice in faculty hiring, as well as the RTP review process. Faculty Affairs and the College of Liberal and Creative Arts together launched Equity and Social Justice Leadership Development Program, in which several faculty fellows spent a semester in conversation about the role of equity and diversity in SFSU leadership. The Lamb Family College of Business also began a DEI initiative, building a mentorship program with Oakland schools, as well as starting an American Indigenous Business Leaders student chapter at SF State, which is the first student chapter in California. Last year, we also created or implemented new degree programs and curriculum that better serve diverse Californians across the state. Today, I'd like to just share 3. Beginning this semester, students will be able to major in bilingual journalism by taking classes in journalism, Spanish, Beca, Latino studies, and/or international relations. No other public university in the US offers a similar degree. Sorry, there seems to be, I just went a little too quickly, but the College of Extended Learning also launched their first cohort in 2 new online degree completion programs in ethnic studies and in criminal justice, empowering adults to return to college to earn their baccalaureate degree. And while institutions across the nation reported slowdowns in research and publications, our faculty and students continue doing incredible work that won them national recognition in their various fields. MFA design student Mina Kasidifar, who developed FLIP, a chair that enhances children's sensory development, won the West District Graduate Student Merit Award from the Industrial Design Societies of America. Latino Studies lecturer, faculty, and musician John Calloway won a San Francisco Arts Commission grant to present The Buffalo Soldier and the Afro-Filipino at the California Jazz Conservatory. And social work graduate student Jay Patterson, who holds a BA from sociology, received the CSU Trustee for Outstanding Achievement, the highest award in the CSU for student work, as she has advanced LGBTQ and gender justice within the community as the founder of Gender Talk. Paul G. Allen Frontiers Group named Associate Professor of Biology Robin Crook as the Allen Distinguished Investigator for innovative early-stage research on brain circuits that control movement. She's the first CSU faculty member to win the award. And the Northeastern Center for Inclusive Computing awarded computer science professor Ilmi Yoon a grant to redesign lower division comp sci classes to improve retention and grad rates for comp sci majors. The Native American and Indigenous Studies Association, or NASA, awarded American Indian Studies professor Joanne Barker Best Subsequent Book for her publication, Red Scare, the state's indigenous terrorist. Faculty members in the Graduate College of Education collectively won $5.35 million in grants to advance knowledge about teaching, provide financial support for teacher candidates in high-need areas, and innovate student access to learning through applied technology. This past year, our campus community additionally hosted countless conferences, speaker series, exhibits, and film screenings, such as the Black Woman is God exhibit, a FinTech conference with the Federal Reserve Bank, and the Talanoa Research Showcase. Amidst all of the struggles we faced through the past year, I'd like us to remember all the ways we have done well. Take the time to congratulate yourselves, your students, your colleagues. Much of the work that we have done has not been done alone, but through community partnerships and cross-campus collaborations. We are indeed stronger together. I hope you're coming back with a greater appreciation of how important it is to be face-to-face. I certainly have more love for the colleagues around me and greater joy about simply being alive. There's no doubt that things have also shifted since the pandemic. As we return to campus, I hope we can reflect on how we'll proceed as a community. In conclusion, let us be proud of this institution that offers accessible and compelling higher education to all who seek it. Thank you. I now have the great pleasure of ceding the podium to the deans of our colleges and the library, and they in turn will introduce the amazing new faculty members who are joining us this new academic year. Because the room is dark and much of our audience is remote or right outside the building, we won't ask that our new colleagues stand unless they want to. I ask that you hold your applause until each dean has finished their introductions. I now invite Dean Eugene Sivadas of the Lamb Family College of Business to introduce new faculty members in his college.
Thank you, Provost Sueyoshi. The Lamb Family College of Business is excited to welcome 3 new tenure-track faculty colleagues. Dr. Ewan Chen, Assistant Professor of Marketing, holds a PhD from the University of Missouri. She previously served on the faculty at Texas A&M Central Texas. Her teaching and research interests are in digital marketing, platform marketing, and influencer marketing. Dr. Yonga Sophia Kim, Assistant Professor of Management, holds a PhD in Management from the University of Minnesota. She was previously on the faculty at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. Her area of interest is work-life integration, identity, diversity, and workplace emotions. Professor Ine Lina Yang is an assistant professor of accounting. She holds a doctoral degree in juridical sciences from Tulane University and, as was mentioned here previously, has taught at SF State as a lecturer faculty. Her area of interest is business law and accounting ethics. Thank you. It is now my pleasure to introduce Dr. Cynthia Grutzik, Dean of the Graduate College of Education.
Page. Good morning, everybody. Before I start, I want to give a shout out to all of you parents whose kids are starting school this week. I think there are quite a few of you here. I hope they have wonderful teachers, leaders, and specialists working with them this year and that they have a great year. We have 3 new faculty starting in the Graduate College of Education this year. Dr. Michael Clark is assistant professor in the Department of Speech, Language, and Hearing Sciences. He received his PhD from the University of Texas at Austin. His interests include social interactions involving children with complex physical disabilities who are provided with augmentative and alternative communication systems. Dr. Isauro Escamilla joins us as assistant professor in the Department of Elementary Education. He obtained his EDD right here at San Francisco State University. His work involves narrative inquiry and critical ethnographic teacher action research in early education. And Dr. Alex Mejia, an assistant professor in the Department of Secondary Education, is interested in ethnographic and semiotic methods to study race, language, and labor among communities marginalized by racial capitalism. His PhD is from our neighbor to the south, Stanford University. Please welcome these new colleagues. It is now my honor to introduce Dr. Catriona Rueba Esquivel, an interim dean of our College of Ethnic Studies.
Thank you, Dean Grutzik. My name is Catriona Rueba Esquivel, and I'm acting as interim dean at the College of Ethnic Studies, the first College of Ethnic Studies in the nation and one of two in the California State University system. We are very pleased to be able to welcome 6 new faculty members this year and to introduce them to you. In the Department of Africana Studies, we have Dr. Tiffany Caesar, she, her, hers. Dr. Caesar earned her doctorate at the University of Wisconsin and has also worked in Pan-African Studies in the College of Ethnic Studies at Cal State Los Angeles. She'll be bringing to our students her research in Africana women, transnational identities and activism, public history and cultural heritage preservation, women in leadership, Black women's self-care, which during this ongoing COVID pandemic, all our students will greatly appreciate. Dr. Crystal Edwards, she, her, hers, who has worked as a lecturer here in Africana Studies and is moving into the tenure track with accolades from her students. She completed her doctorate at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, where I hear they have something called snow. She brings her keen interest in the lived experience of Black women and girls through the African diaspora, Black feminisms and womanism, construction of intersectional identities, including racialized, gendered, and sexual identities, and African diasporic history and culture. In the Department of American Indian Studies, we welcome Dr. Balig Ben Talib, who will be joining us in January, he, him, his, after he fulfills the conditions of his Fulbright Fellowship. Dr. Ben Talib completed his degree at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln. His research explores the histories of indigenous societies, settler colonialism, race beyond the black-white paradigm, global colonial history, and transitional justice with an emphasis on the narratives and institutions. In the Department of Asian American Studies, we are very pleased to welcome Dr. Aline Daus Magbal into a tenure track position. Dr. Das Magbal has worked as the Director of Asian American and Pacific Islander Student Services, ASPIRE, and has served as Director of the Pinoy Educational Partnerships, PEP. Dr. Daus Magbal completed her educational doctorate at San Francisco State University, so she knows our students very well. In her research, she looks at the role of ethnic studies in education as a high-impact practice, specifically Asian Americans in education, as well as anti-Asian violence, critical leadership practice, critical pedagogy, and critical race parenting and barangay pedagogy. In the Department of Latina and Latino Studies, we are pleased to welcome Dr. Carolina Prado, she, her, hers, who has left the campus to the south, San Jose State University, to share with us her expertise in environmental justice in the US-Mexico borderlands and the intersections between gender and environmental issues. Dr. Prado completed her PhD at UC Berkeley. In the Department of Race and Resistance Studies, we are pleased to welcome Dr. Alan Peleas Lopez, they, them, theirs, who is joining us after completing their PhD at UC Berkeley. Dr. Peleas Lopez is an accomplished poet and joins us as our first hire in queer ethnic studies. Their research interests include undocumented migration, hemispheric transgender studies, Black and Indigenous cultural studies, and creative writing. Thank you for your attention and for the continued commitment to ethnic studies here at San Francisco State University. The College of Ethnic Studies hopes to serve as a second home to all of our BIPOC new and continuing faculty, students, and staff. It is now my very great pleasure to introduce my colleague, Dr. Alvin Alvarez, Dean of the College of Health and Social Sciences, who will be welcoming that college's new faculty.
Good morning. Well, let's do that again. Good morning. Better, thanks. Good morning. The College of Health and Social Sciences prepares students to help solve the most pressing and enduring problems facing us today in society. And to help actualize that mission, I have the pleasure of announcing and introducing you to 4 new faculty within the college. First up, Dr. Miguel Abad comes back to the Bay Area and joins us as an assistant professor of child and adolescent development with an interest in youth activism and participatory action research. He obtained his PhD at the University of California, Riverside, and has more than a decade of experience as a youth worker collaborating with community-based and nonprofit organizations in the Bay Area. A fun fact about Miguel is that he is an avid horror film watcher, and he hopes to actually teach a course on that someday. Next up, we want to welcome Dr. Angela Fillingham, also coming back to California, as an assistant professor in the Department of Sociology and Sexuality Studies. Her interests include race, human rights, social justice, Latin America, and social theory. She obtained her PhD at UC Berkeley, and prior to SFSU, she was the director and faculty member of the Education and Social Justice program at Western Washington University. She shares with us that to prepare for her classes, Angela likes to listen to Bad Bunny. I have no idea what that is. You can look them up. Next up, Dr. Cynthia Martinez joins us as an assistant professor in the Department of Counseling. Cynthia obtained her PhD at the Wright Institute, and her interests include collaborating with Latinx immigrant families, Black/African American families to create non-traditional therapeutic wellness groups. She was born and raised in San Francisco's Mission District. Cynthia is a proud child of immigrants from Guatemala and a first-generation college student, and also a makeup artist to boot. Lastly, let me introduce you to Dr. Sohaila Mohammadi Gorji, who joins us as an assistant professor in the Department of Family, Interiors, Nutrition, and Apparel. She has her PhD from the University of Florida and is interested in improving healthcare security through space planning and design. A fun fact about Sohaila is that she is from Iran and loves singing Persian classical music. Would you please join me in welcoming our 4 new colleagues? It is now my pleasure to invite my friend and colleague, Dr. Sophie Clavier, the interim dean of the College of Liberal and Creative Arts, to introduce her new colleagues. Dr. Clavier.
Thank you, Dean Alvarez. Dr. Mahoney earlier mentioned the new students coming to campus, and it's thrilling to see them join us. It is equally thrilling to have new colleagues join us in our community of teaching and learning. And so it is my pleasure to introduce new faculty members in the College of Liberal and Creative Arts, the largest college on our campus. Dr. Graham Carpenter comes to us as assistant professor in the Department of Broadcast and Electronic Communication Arts, better known as BECA. His interests lie in media psychology, how and why people use imagination and media to relate to one another as well as themselves. Dr. Carpenter obtained his PhD at the University of Alabama. Next, Rafael Flores comes to us as an assistant professor in the School of Cinema. He obtained his MFA right here at SF State. And Professor Flores is interested in narrative directing and in producing Latino, Latina, Latinx cinema. Next, Dr. Vivian Huang joined us as assistant professor in communication studies. With a PhD from New York University, Dr. Huang has an interest in race and in performance. Sana Khan Husseini joins us as an assistant professor in the School of Design. Her work is on design thinking skills and human-centered methods that give underrepresented users and communities a voice. She received her MFA at the University of Notre Dame. Michael Schreckhardt is assistant professor in the School of Theater and Dance. Interested in scenic design and in theater, he earned his MFA at the Pennsylvania State University. And last, Nicole Ray Shaw obtained her MFA at the University of Miami in Southern Florida. She joins us as assistant professor in the School of Cinema and her interest includes narrative fiction directing and screenwriting. I am thrilled to welcome these new additions to the College of Liberal and Creative Arts family. Join me in applauding them. And it is now my pleasure to introduce my colleague, Carmen Domingo, the Dean of the College of Science and Engineering.
Thank you, Sophie. Bienvenidos. It's exciting to be here. I'm really thrilled to introduce our new faculty to the College of Science and Engineering. First is Dr. Archana Anand joins us as an assistant professor in the Department of Biology. Her academic interests include pathogens and coastal water quality with a view toward protecting human and ecosystems health. Dr. Anand obtained her PhD some distance away at the University of Hong Kong. Dr. Wes Bethel comes to us as an associate professor in the Department of Computer Science. Prior to this, he was a senior scientist at the Lawrence Livermore National Laboratory. His work concerns high-performance computing, scientific visualization, data science, machine learning, and quantum computing. His PhD is from Columbia University. Next, Dr. Michael Enright joins us as an assistant professor in the Department of Chemistry and Biochemistry. His interests include analytical materials chemistry, investigating solar-powered sustainable energy solutions, something that is very relevant today. He obtained his PhD at the University of Washington. Next, Dr. Sanchita Gus is assistant professor in our School of Engineering. She received her PhD at the University of Texas at San Antonio. She's working on developing a deep learning algorithm for multimodal learning and cross-modal retrieval applications, focusing on computer vision, action recognition, sound synthesis, and video processing. Next, Dr. Shuyi Liu joins us as an assistant professor of psychology. She's interested in clinical supervision and how individuals cope with minority stress. Her PhD is from Iowa State University. Next, Dr. Shriti Raj is assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science. With a PhD from the University of Michigan, she's interested in human-computer interaction and health informatics. Next, Dr. Kathy Samayoa joins the Department of Biology as an assistant professor, but she's no stranger to us. She's an alum of the Department of Biology and has been involved in campus programs for many years to increase the diversity of those pursuing a career in biomedical sciences. Dr. Samayoa obtained her PhD at the University of Texas at San Antonio, and she studies transdisciplinary health equity research, especially the biomarkers of stress, premature aging, and resilience, another of San Francisco State's core values. Next, Dr. Chuin Wang is an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science with interests in efficiency and security and performance improvement of 5G, 6G communication networks with advanced transmission technologies and machine learning algorithms. Dr. Wang's PhD is from Utah State University. Finally, Dr. Jocelyn Wolf comes to us as an assistant professor of psychology. She's interested in the socio-cultural factors that impact the academic, educational, and mental health outcomes of culturally and linguistically minoritized youth and families. She obtained her PhD at the University of Arizona. Please help me in congratulating and welcoming these new faculty members to San Francisco State. I would now like to welcome Dr. Debbie Masters, our university librarian.
Thank you, Dean Domingo. The library is excited to welcome Faith Rusk as a tenure-track library faculty member at the rank of Senior Assistant Librarian, following 2 years as a lecturer or faculty member. Faith has a master's in library science from the University of Maryland and previously served on the faculty at the Library of the University of the District of Columbia in Washington, D.C. She serves as the library's coordinator for lower division research assistance and instruction and leads the library's student success and engagement team. Her research interests focus on scaffolding student-centered information literacy support to remove barriers to student success in learning. And I will just say as an aside, she's largely responsible for what the provost highlighted from the library. So please join me in welcoming Faith to her tenure track position. And I now return the podium to Mike Goldman for his closing remarks.
Thank you so much for these fantastic introductions. It's very exciting to have such an accomplished group of new faculty members join us. I'm sorry that we couldn't even recognize all of the many new staff members, continuing staff and faculty as well. But there's a reception coming, so I think you wouldn't want to wait. It's so wonderful in these trying times to see that year after year, incredible new faculty members, staff members, and administrators are attracted to our noble mission here at SF State. We aim to contribute to the betterment of our society, to peace, respect, and love across races, ethnicities, genders, religions, belief systems, and even political parties. We work toward the revival of our planet and our ecosystem through the advancement of our students, including both undergraduate and postgraduate, who are the hope for our future. I'd like to remind you once again that there are many opportunities for service through the Senate and its committees, through joining search committees for future members of our administration. And all you have to do is email us at senate@sfsu.edu and let us know that you are interested. I'm very confident it will be worth your while. It's a rewarding opportunity to learn more about the place where you work and to help make it better, as well as to develop the leadership skills that will help in your future career. I'd like to thank all of our speakers, real and virtual, our audience, present and remote, and the many folks who made this event possible, and all the people who keep our university humming every day of the year. I'd like to invite you, on behalf of the President's Office, to join us now outdoors at Don Nasser Plaza, which is off the main quad near the old gym, where there's a little sculpture of an alligator, well, a big sculpture of an alligator, for a really exciting reception honoring Provost Tsuyoshi. Please have a wonderful day and a wonderful semester.